Fantasy football fam, shout out to DeVore. If you guys want to discover rare beers, if you guys want to curate a whole bunch of beers from like breweries all over the country and you get a sick box of beer, they deliver it right to your door. So you can not only be lazy, you can enjoy dope craft beers right at your home. And if you guys go to DeVore.com, sign up, use that promo code ChatSports, you're going to get $10 off. Like, I'm going to giving you $10 to be lazy and drink beer. You're welcome. Cheers to DeVore. Okay. Next segment I got for you guys coming up, my 2018 quarterback rankings. And right here's my list, 6 through 10. I got a guy like Carson Wentz. If you tell me right now Carson Wentz is playing all 16 games, this dude's moving up. Drew Brees is an absolute man crush of mine. Kirk Cousins comes in at 8. Ben Roethlisberger at 9, who finished the season strong. And number 10 is a guy who doesn't get any respect ever, and that's Phillip Rivers. But out of these 5 quarterbacks, the guy I really want to talk about is Drew Brees, right? So is Drew Brees going to bounce back? And for people who don't know what a bounce back means, it's like Drew Brees had a down year last year, and I think he's going to come back this year. Is Drew Brees on the decline? Personally, I don't think so. It's not what I saw in the playoffs, at least. The guy looked really good. So this is a guy, before last year, 9 straight seasons. 9. 32-plus touchdowns, right? And right now he's going against the QB5, and his ADP is in round 6. Like, I don't need to go up and get a guy like Aaron Rodgers. I don't need a guy like Russell Wilson. Because I'm going to wait on a guy like Drew Brees, who you could argue Drew Brees is the fantasy football GOAT. Why do I say that? Because nobody passes for more yards than Brees throughout his career. He's over 32 touchdowns every year, and it sickens me that this guy has never won an MVP. The reason this guy has never won an MVP is because the Saints defense has been garbage for most of the time he's been there, and finally he's on a team that can run the football, and now we're saying Drew Brees lost a step? Get out of here. The Saints had 23 rushing touchdowns last year. Drew Brees, 32 passing touchdowns. That doesn't happen often, guys. Like, Drew Brees is still a stud. He's got Michael Thomas. He's got a lot of other weapons. Ted Ginn, whether you want to hate him or not. Drew Brees is going to have a huge bounce back year. But I want to know from you guys, right? How many touchdowns will Drew Brees pass for in 2018? So I said last year, he threw for 23. I'm going to go over 30 because I see it every year, and 1 year is an outlier year to me. Drew Brees is going to throw for over 30 touchdowns. I'm going to say 31 on a Saints team that's already said that they plan on passing the ball a lot more this season. Okay, next one now. We talked about those quarterbacks. Now I want to get into my next ranking of quarterbacks, the 1 through 5, right? I got Aaron Rodgers at number 1, and he is my clear 1 quarterback. And God, can we get him a real jersey because he's my number 1 quarterback? What are you doing, Packers? Number 2, this is where it gets tough, right? It's Russell Wilson at 2, Tom Brady at 3, Deshaun Watson at 4, and Cam Newton at 5. Out of all these names, though, the guy that I really want to talk about is a guy, Superman, it's Cam Newton, okay? Now, I love Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton is a really good real-life quarterback that doesn't get enough respect. Yeah, Dad, I'm looking at you, right? So he's getting back Greg Olsen, his safety blanket. He adds a guy like DJ Moore, who, let me just tell you, looked incredible in the Week 1 preseason game, and he had 39% of Maryland's targets in college. That's absurd, right? I want to know, though, could we see a 2015 MVP season from Cam? Guys, like I'm telling you, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. He's QB7 right now on the board. He's going in round 7. And this is a guy who every single year when he plays, he's like, seriously, sure, he's going to have the interceptions. He had 16 last year. But fantasy is about points. And this guy rushes the ball. 754 rushing yards last year. 6 touchdowns. And my favorite Cam Newton stat, he has at least 5 rushing touchdowns every year since 2011. He is the only player in the NFL to have at least 5 rushing touchdowns every year since 2011, and he plays quarterback, right? 22 touchdowns. Let's not forget, when he was an MVP, 35 touchdowns. Cam has had seasons where he's had 14 rushing touchdowns. He's a top 5 quarterback nearly every year, and now he's getting back Greg Olsen, and you're adding DJ Moore? Yeah. Sign me up for a guy like Cam Newton who can easily finish as a QB1. But I want to know from you guys, over or under 6.5 rushing touchdowns for Cam Newton in 2018. Type 1 if you think it's going to be over. Type 2 if you think it's going to be under. But ultimately, I also want you guys to comment how many touchdowns you think he's going to have in general. Because if Cam Newton rushed for over 6.5 touchdowns, top 5 QB, you can put him on the board. Guarantee it. Over 700 rushing yards probably too, right? Okay.